Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Here we are again with another episode of Deenversation with Basir and Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmad.
Walaikum salam.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
How
So,
is your Ramadan going?
it's going fine. Yeah.
That's good.
Quite used to it now.
Okay.
Very normal.
Okay. I see
So-
you become thinner.
I got that compliment from others as well. I hope the viewers and listeners also feel like that. So, tell me, what do we have on the table today?
So today is a very serious topic and
Serious or morbid?
morbid, both. So it's something that's eventually gonna come from for all of us. It's looming over us. So I wanted to talk a bit about death.
Okay.
So just to start off hard and fast, are you afraid of death?
I hope not. I don't think as a Muslim we should be afraid of death. And that would go against the Aqidah. Why? Because we believe that Ajal, which is the lifespan, is fixed. So if something is fixed, it means it's predetermined, it's there, it will come on its time, it can't be delayed, it can't be happening earlier than its promulgated time. So why bother or why be afraid about that? However, there is a huge aspect which is today misunderstood by many Muslims related to death. And that is, we don't fear death. We don't fear the ending of life. We don't fear being in the grave as such. We don't fear being cut off from the family and being in this alam called alam-e-barzakh. Rather, we fear and we should fear and we must fear accountability. And when someone fears accountability, what does he do? He changes his life. He changes his actions. He changes himself, his personality, whatever he does, the way he thinks. He would change everything and make it aligned with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. So I think this is a primary distinction which today many Muslims are missing, and they are afraid of death. They are trying to run away of death. They are taking decisions which they think would prolong their ajal. Ajal means lifespan, I told you. So they think that somehow they can run away from death. But you can't run away from that. That, as I said, it's predestined, it will come. Actually, Muslims have been gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These two concepts are really a gift to Muslims, which should make Muslims supermen. Really, supermen, superpowers. What are those two concepts? One, Ajal is fixed. When Ajal is fixed, you have been taken away one of the biggest fears, death. And the other, rizq is fixed. So you have been provision. So you have been taken away the other biggest fear of humans, of mankind, which is the what about sustenance, what about
my family,
provision, everyone, exactly. So that's gone. When these two things are gone, you are actually Superman. You can do big things. You can take risks. You can take challenges. You can speak the truth.
Alright.
You can fight in the cause of
Shouldn't
Allah.
we be scared of death as an end?
As I said, it's not an end. Thank you very much for raising this. It's not an end. Actually, we die every day. So if you look at the ahadith, this dua which we say while going to bed, Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya. What does it say? O Lord, in your name, we amutu, we die. So sleep is partial death. We die and we again rise to life. We come back to life. So, and that should serve as a reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rise us again on Yawm al-Qiyamah. What is Yawm al-Qiyamah? What is Qiyam? Qiyam is standing. Yeah. So we will stand up again. He will make us stand up again. So it's just a very temporary thing. So death is a temporary abode. What I mean by that, or why I highlight this, because colloquially in Pakistan in language, on houses, it's written that this is a temporary abode on houses. So arzi aramga, and on graves, it's permanent abode. That's not permanent. Not at all. It's very, very short. It's a very short span. The actual thing is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rise us again, and then we'll have a day of 50,000 years, this Yawmul Hisab, and after that, the decision, once the decision is fallen, that is actually what we should fear. And you know, it reminds me, there was this Khalifa, I really forgot, I think it was Umar bin Abdul Aziz, I think, but maybe it was Harun al-Rashid. And his wife noticed once that whenever he would get up for the night prayer, what do you call it?
Sorry?
The night prayer.
Oh.
So,
You're talking about itikaf?
no. Itikaf is itikaf is the 10 days, which is it. So, so whenever he would get up, so he would sleep and then get up for that prayer, he would shiver during the prayer, and he would shiver like birds when they are wet. They like try to jerk off the water, and they like shiver. You have seen that. He would shiver that way, and his wife asked him, "What is this?" And he said something beautiful. He said, "Whenever in prayer, I connect to Allah, and I envision the day, the final day, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be giving me my namai amal, my scope, my report card of this life." And you know the namai amal, the report card, to whomever it is given in the right hand, that's it. You don't even need to open it. It means you are in Jannah.
It seems like another level of dedication.
Yes, and whenever it is given to you in left hand, that means you're doomed. You're doomed. Then those people, they'll open it and they'll be amazed to see all the details written in there of even the smallest bad deeds which they did. And they'll be haran, really, did I do this? So he said, when I think of that moment, and when it comes to my mind that what if I'm given it in my left hand, it brings shivers on me. Why? Because there's no going back. That's it. Just think of it. Just think of it. You fail an exam, you have another chance. You fail an exam again, you don't have a chance, you take another route to life. Life doesn't end. But once this life has ended, you cannot come back. You would want to come back and do a repeat and be a better person and be a better Muslim and do good deeds, but that's it. This is only once. You only have one chance. So they say this YOLO, you only live once. It is meant, do whatever you want to do. Actually, YOLO, you only live once. You only have one chance at life, which means you only have one chance at making your akhirah. Whatever you did in this life, it's a done deal. That's actually what should scare us, not death. Death is a reality, it will come.
And what do you think, what's wrong with the view that Muslims of the Ummah today have about death? So we see on one side of the extreme, we have the terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda. They, for their lives, they trade their lives easily for damage to their enemy. And on the other side, we have the rest of the Ummah who just isn't ready to suffer pain. So on which side of the spectrum should we be, ideally?
So first of all, you use the word terrorist. Right?
No, don't get started on this right now. No.
I won't. Okay, I won't. But I need to.
It's gonna be a hot topic.
I need to tell you about my reservations of using this word. Okay, so it's a topic for another day.
We're gonna get cancelled.
So you said that we have on one side we have people who are ready to lay their lives for, let's say, whatever cause they have in their mind. Okay, so it could be the right cause, inshallah, or it could be the wrong cause.
They have in mind an Islamic cause.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have people who like try to chicken out.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
They don't want to.
Yeah.
And because of these people, unfortunately, many of our opponents gain power on us.
All right.
So yeah, that's the
So do you
problem.
think we should be ready to lay our lives down at any moment, or should we have some regard for our lives, stay a little shy of that?
Yeah, it's a good question, very good question. I would say there are certain red lines. When
Alright.
those red lines are crossed, then it should be an all-out thing. And Shara has defined those red lines. It's very, very clear. And we also naturally also have an idea. So if someone was to come here into this house and then play with our honor,
Yeah.
we would be ready to lay our lives. That's it. Exactly. So what has happened with the Ummah in so many places isn't it that they're playing with our honor, that honor of our women, of our children, of our men? Like really, what hasn't happened to us as an ummah?
Keeping in mind Gaza.
Yeah, keeping in mind Gaza, keeping in mind Kashmir, keeping in mind the Uyghurs. You want to be cancelled? So yeah, it's unfortunate really. It's barbaric. Things unimaginable have happened to this ummah, and they have happened in front of running cameras. They were being broadcast to the whole world, and still the world is mum, and still the world is trying to look the other way, and still the world is trying to sing the same old rotten song of anti-Semitism. Just look at it.
Alright. That sounds very good. Okay. So death should be treated, but don't you think we're treating death too lightly here?
What makes you think so?
Because isn't our life, valuable that we should take some consideration into where
Yes,
we
of course.
end it?
You shouldn't throw away your life.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't drive rashly. You shouldn't text while driving.
Yeah.
You shouldn't jump from the 10th floor.
All right.
Right? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah? You should be. Another aspect of that, is, what people also fear? People fear the loss of a loved one. So another fear, one is your death, and the other is the death of someone whom you love.
Yeah.
And that fear also has to do with a weak, I think so for myself, that with a weak aqidah and a weak iman. Why? Because it's temporary. It's really temporary. It's just, it will pass away like this. When you look back of your 16, 17 years of age, or I look back of mine, I won't tell how many, it's just a few years more than
60,
yours.
70.
Yeah, it's a few years more than yours. So what does it feel like? Does it feel like years or decades, 1.5 decade for you? It doesn't, right? It just feels like a blink of an eye. So similarly, that's what it is. And especially as compared to infinite life. So this 10, 20, 50, 100 years, at max 100, 110, make it 200.
Negligible.
It's negligible. It's nothing. It's like, I think there's a hadith which says it's like you have an ocean and you put your finger in, you take your finger out, and whatever sticks to your finger, that one or less than one drop, that's actually the comparison. It's for explaining that's the comparison of this life and the ocean being the hereafter.
Yeah, it's completely mind-boggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's important that we put these things into perspective. And I think today's discussion would have helped people do that.
And the Ummah doesn't have the same perspective on death.
Most
that we should have.
Many don't.
Many don't.
Many have. Many have even a better understanding, I would say. Many are living that understanding, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
But yeah, we
That's
have our
good.
weaknesses.
Thank you. I understood that.
Okay. So thank you very much, audience, for listening, and keep sharing, keep watching. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.